Bellefontaine, and you're listening to the Homebuyers Hour on WCPT AM 820, where the facts matter. And it's just Patrick and I in the studio today. Of course, we have our new favorite producer, Henry's, helping us out here, who's giving us a thumbs up.
Finally got a real producer in this thing.
Yeah, we got to do a little bit of bashing on Devin since he's not here, and he is valuable, but I'm sorry, you're absent, you get picked on. It's that simple.
I don't know. He's got COVID for like the 18th time,
and he's still alive.
Stop doing that.
And Joey is remotely with us. He's going to be on the radio. But first, Patrick, if you don't mind, give us an introduction about you and why you're so special.
I'm Patrick Loftus. I am a real estate lawyer. My law firm's called Loftus Law. You hire me when you are buying or selling your home. And the reason you hire me is you want things to go smoothly. Find me on the various social media outlets. I am on Instagram, Loftus_law. I'm on TikTok at Loftus Law. And, I think I post on Facebook as well, but I don't like Facebook. So, you can find me there if you really want to, but I don't want to be there. I'm just there because, Charlie's there.
You're just making fun of me being a boomer, and that's all I want to be on is Facebook and none of that whippersnapper stuff that you guys do.
I've seen you lurking on Snapchat, you weirdo.
I do. Joey, can you give us your contact info?
Why, Charlie, yes, I certainly can. My name is Joey Mathews, NMLS 1230694. You can call or text me at 630-235-2405. You can find me on the social media as the VA Loan Nerd or at my brand new, fresh, ready-to-be-seen website, thevaloannerd.com.
And we're going to talk about that today, and we're going to repeat that a few different times because honestly, when you start putting all that education up there and give it to people for free, I think it's just outstanding. All right. And in fact, I want to hear a little bit more. What did you put on there? What can people go there now and learn about when it comes to VA mortgages?
Yeah, so right now, a big piece of it is who is eligible for a VA loan, simple VA loan guide, the types of VA loans, how our process works at the VA Loaner with me. The fact that I've never pre-approved something that won't close. I'm pulling certificates of eligibility up front, things of that nature. As time goes on, there will be a vlog, there will be a blog. There's links to the videos that I've done in terms of the fun education stuff. Calculators, frequently asked questions, because you get when you're doing a lot of VA loans, realtors and buyers, they ask similar questions a lot of the time. So a lot of FAQs get answered in there. And as time grows on, we're going to add realtors as, I don't know what to call it, VA home nerds, right? So
I like that.
Realtors that are familiar with the VA process, they're familiar with what appraisers are looking for. So when you're shopping for properties, they can point out hey, chip paint, or depending on the municipality, that Romex thing that we talked about last week, appraisal came in, never got brought up because it was up to code. I was waiting for it to get brought up though.
Interesting.
But things of that nature, getting ahead of things before they become things. And that's the goal, is I want more people to take advantage of the VA loan. At the end of the day, realtors and buyers.
Yeah, Joe, you were talking last week, or someone was, I don't remember, but no, it was you. You were talking about last week how you had closed a VA loan with somebody who had been steered conventional more than a couple times previously. And what it sounded like to me is that whoever was doing their loan and perhaps even their real estate broker, they were not familiar with VA, were intimidated, or had some kind of preconceived notion about VA, and you came in, did the VA loan, and the guy was shocked at how smoothly it went.
No, yeah, dude, I remember the guy called me. I was driving, I think it was on my way to be on the radio. The first time I talked to this dude, and he had gotten my name from a cop that I had worked with before, and the guy was like, "Dude, you got to use your VA loan." And he was apprehensive about it because since 2002, when he got out of the military, he had been told over a dozen times, he's done mortgages over a dozen times since 2002, whether it be refi or purchase, not to use VA. There was too much red tape. There were too many loopholes to jump through, or not loopholes, but too many hoops to jump through, all that stuff. So I always confront that head on. Because it's the only way to confront that. And I just told him, I was like, here's the deal. We'll go back and forth a little bit on your concerns with VA. and I will get you pre-approved. We will go under contract, and we will allow you, if you would like, to add a contingency to flip to conventional if, for whatever reason, this appraisal is an issue, right? So we did, and it just for him, it was just smooth because I never had to update docs because as soon as I got him pre-approved, he was under contract literally like the next day. So docs never expired. And I just updated him. I was like, hey, your underwrite was clean. Who's your insurance agent? Hey, the appraisal's in. It's over value. It came in $10,000 over value.
That probably made him feel good too.
Appraisal. Right? Right? And like the times that he would hear from me there was never bad news. There was never more things I was asking for. It was smooth. And he called me when it was done. He was like, I am an idiot. I should have used VA this entire time. I was like, dude, you're not an idiot. You just worked with idiots.
Yeah,
what's that website again, Joey?
The VALoanNerd.com. I'm wondering if I should make it VA Loan Nerd just because a lot of people, it's like when the Facebook came out and it was the Facebook and they dropped the. I'm wondering if it might be a good idea to drop the. We'll
you can just register both domains and have it forwarded. I mean,
That's true, yeah.
And if you're having Charlie say the name of your website, you're
Duh.
probably also
I
going to
gotta
want
register. Duh.
Yeah, the VA Loan Nerd, where the facts matter.
No, for crying out loud. This is why nobody likes you. You know. But you know what? Both of you just mentioned something that's.
Oh, I got to drop our radio show on the website too. I'm an idiot.
Nice.
Definitely.
It'd be nice, you know.
But you both mentioned something about making things go smooth. All right, and this is kind of important. It's, you know, when everybody thinks all real estate professionals as a commodity, that's where the big mistake is. And I know I'm the worst basher of all real estate professionals from top to bottom. All right. And it's all because there's so many bad actors out there that either choose not to learn or they want to learn the wrong way and they don't want to share or they don't have the best interests of the clients. And I don't know, that's just kind of the whole reason why I want to spend an hour every week talking to you guys is just to keep getting that message out there.
Yeah,
you know,
I am, you know, shouting from the depths of this. I suppose I've heard some call it the bunker where we record. And any of you who are listeners of The Score will know what I'm talking about. But you know, it's like when I talk about making things go smoothly, it really means on our side of things, right? Whichever side of the transaction we are, whether it's buyer or seller. We want to do whatever we can to remove as much friction in the process as we can. Now, we don't get to choose who's on the other side of the transaction. I don't get to choose.
You have no control over them.
If I'm the seller, I don't get to choose who the buyer's broker is. I don't get to choose who the buyer is, the inspector, the mortgage broker. But the more good, competent, more than competent professionals are involved in the transaction, the better it will go. Or said differently, the way I usually say it is that a real estate transaction will go as smoothly as the worst person involved. So,
sounds like a chain. The weakest link in a chain.
There you go. That's another way of putting it. So it's like when you get someone like Joey involved, when you get someone like Charlie involved, me involved, and any of the the real estate brokers that we regularly work with, then you're setting yourself up for a situation where you're going to have what Joey just described. What Joey just described is the dream. It is literally the dream.
What do you mean?
If you're a buyer. So you're a buyer, you find a house that you like. You go under contract the day after you're pre-approved for your loan. The loan process is smooth because you've got someone like Joey that has the processes to make it go smooth. He has the information.
He does it on the front end.
He does it the front end, the middle end, and the back end. All of that. But yeah, sure, you set yourself up for a win by starting with a good process, but then the process has to bear out. So as things go along, this person is getting emails from Joey. Joey's working with the insurance agent. He's working with the appraiser. The appraiser comes in and says, "Hey, the minute you close, you're $10,000 richer." I mean, tell me a better scenario without just saying, well, this is worth even more than 10,000. I mean, sure, I can make up a better scenario, but in the real world, when that happens, you go, man, I'm winning.
And then it's also problem solving too. I mean, I just had a person move here to Illinois from Georgia, and they bought a house near St. Louis, and just, I'm sure you two know, but I'm the current president of the Illinois Association of Home Inspectors, so I kind of manage that association as well as my own business. And somebody was unhappy with their home inspector outside the St. Louis area, and they called up to see if what the person was doing was legitimate. And when you look at the standards of practice and everything else, it's like, well, they're supposed to look at stoves, all right? And I think, Patrick, you mentioned it about, normal operation, does it heat up? I mean, I don't figure out if it's, you dial it to 400 if it's 401. I'm not going to do that. It's a little too aggressive. But as long as we're creating heat and everything's, the anti-tips and it's all working fine, I'm good. But then when, people make mistakes, all right, I make mistakes. We're human. And I don't judge people by the mistakes they make. I judge them by how they handle it. And, and of course, this is only one side. There's 3 sides to every story, right? And, she's telling me that he just ignored her, they ghosted, that comes out of there. And then she sends me the report, sends me the contract, and I'm like, this person could get in a lot of trouble with the state of Illinois because they're not complying with the laws. All right, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're not putting the right words in the stuff. And all this lady wanted was her money back. And I don't know if that's a good way to handle stuff like that. But I know maybe I'm trying to kill the whole hour just by this story. Who knows? And I know I'm bloviating, so forgive me.
The way you described it is like she was pretty emotional about the situation. Objectively speaking, I would certainly be annoyed if I moved in and my stove didn't work and it turns out that nobody bothered testing it. Now, that said, from my perspective, when I tell someone that the closing's been scheduled, part of my process is to advise them, and their agent should also be advising them, test everything. You're going to walk in, first thing you're going to do, turn the stove on, turn the dishwasher on, get the mechanicals going.
Things change.
Well, you want to get everything going so that as you're going through the rest of the house and testing all of the light fixtures and the plumbing fixtures, looking for leaks, you really need to be advocating for yourself at that final walkthrough. And so you go back downstairs. Okay, we've got all 4, 5, 6, however many burners are on the stove are working. So I guess in a way, I'm blaming this lady a little bit for really not advocating for herself. And I know they don't use lawyers down really outside the Chicago area. So it could very well be that she got bad advice. I would place just as much blame on the real estate broker for not being of assistance during that final walkthrough. Well,
let me ask both of you this. What percentage of home buyers do you both believe just kind of are more hands-off and they want their real estate agent to do everything? So give me the attorney, give me the home inspector, give me the mortgage guy. I'll just do whatever you make me do. What percentage of that do you think happens?
In my experience, I would say that is less often the situation where they just sit back and they go, none of this is really my realm. I'm not going to get involved. I mean, it's for me, and maybe I'm looking at it from my own perspective, but I look at it as here's all of the information you need. Now, here it's your turn to make a decision about whatever it is, this, that, or the other thing. I mean, if you're a buyer and you're just saying to your agent, write up an offer. I have no opinion on how much it is. Just offer however much you think is necessary to get the offer accepted. I don't know. I mean, you're giving a lot of you're giving someone a lot of authority over something that's quite important in my opinion.
Joey?
I just would echo that thought. I run into new realtors all the time because buyers bring me into a transaction, and then it's a new realtor I'm working with, a new attorney I'm working with. So a lot of buyers, from what I've seen, at least on my end as well, and a realtor may have a totally different perspective because a lot of times buyers are going to a realtor first. But in just my personal experience, it's a buyer literally putting together their own team of people to work together. That's what I've come into mostly on my end. But I'm also weird. I know that I'm weird.
You are weird.
You are weird. Yeah, that's a given. But I might add, I think I'm kind of the same, but that those numbers are going up. I mean, our process is different than every other competitor that's here. So you hit it on the head. It's, my thing with real estate brokers, and I'm very prejudiced against them.
He's
all
got a
right,
thing.
I do prejudge. I don't like most of them, and but it's either you're going to love me or you're going to hate me. The bottom line is if you want your client to be limited in their information, you're going to hate me. All right. I refuse to do that. But if you do want your client to be as accurately and fully educated as possible, and that's not just BS words, that's legitimately, we go out of our way and spend a lot of time with our clients just to make sure that they understand it. It's not just on site, but it's also that Zoom call. Those real estate agents that truly care about their clients are going to be successful in this business. All right. I really believe that.
Yeah.
And if I could build a solid relationship with them, that's I don't know. To me, that's the recipe for success right there.
Yeah, you want to be working with people that share your set of values, and there are agents out there that really are looking out for themselves. And I think the problem that you run into. So I'm reminded of a video I watched the other day, and it was an inspector in Texas who was talking about an experience he had with a real estate broker when he was new in the business. And this real estate broker was a seasoned real estate broker. And they tried to, low-key bully him into not putting something on the report. Because, that doesn't belong on the report. And it had to do with when you've got copper wiring and it meets into the box and it's aluminum, you need the anti-oxidation paste. Something like that, and the broker didn't want him to put it on there, and he's like, "I'm putting it on there." And when you see that, you go, good on him, and it makes me, feel good about a professional out there who's doing right by their clients and not worrying about the real estate broker's opinion. Because let me tell you, that real estate broker is going to absolutely, at some point, if you think you've developed, you're developing a relationship with a top producer and they're like that relationship is going to be temporary. Because as soon as it is necessary to throw you under the bus for something they did wrong, you are going to have tire tracks all over your back and you're not going to know what hit you, because that person is an absolute snake. Joey, I'm sure you've worked with real estate brokers who are, trying to get you.
Hold on,
to do
I got to
one thing or
jump
another.
in on this and interrupt. I'm sorry, Joey, I'm cringing over here just waiting to jump in on that comment, And in Texas, the home inspectors there, they have a list of stuff that is mandatory for them to report on, all right? One of them is the antioxidant paste
Aren't
that
you
you mentioned on
Aren't you
this.
proud of me that I was able to articulate that?
I am very proud of you, but that home inspector is wrong.
Oh, man.
Antioxidant paste has not been required on aluminum lugs coming into panels for 12 years now. All right, I forgot the code cycle.
There was some oxidation on the thing.
And I'm not saying it's not going to happen. It could be humidity from any other reason can cause that. The antioxidant paste isn't going to stop that. However, and that's a problem, when the standards of practice in Texas say that you're supposed to document that defect on there. So, he doesn't want to get in trouble for that reason. But in all reality, it's not a problem that it's not there. All right.
Wouldn't it be better to have that paste there?
Okay, everything would be better, but to what cost? Somebody has to come there. Well, you're talking about disconnecting the service and go ahead, put the paste on and put the lug back in there. And what's the risk? What's the reward? And what's the cost? All right. So anyway, I'm like, yeah, that's not true. That's the real estate agent in that situation was right.
Wow.
There's no reason to put something in there that's not considered a defect.
Joey,
and the National Electric Code overrules anything
Can you believe
else.
your ears right now that Charlie is siding with the real estate broker on this one?
Charlie denies
Man.
that.
Charlie is siding with what is true. How about we go with that?
Charlie is pro real estate broker, has no prejudices whatsoever. He wants to do what is what the real estate broker suggests.
That's not true. If it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. And, it's just I'd rather know what the codes are. The National Electric Code supersedes everything else. And all these SOPs should be written by that. All right. And what's weird is in Texas, they got like 150, 200, and I'm speculating, I'm just guessing, but it's a big, long list of stuff that they have to document and report on, right? And they're not allowed to report on anything else. So they're limited down there in that state. Here in Illinois, right now, we used to be 5, but right now it's 9. There's 9 mandatory things that we have to comment on. Everything else is our opinion, and there's no limitation to what we want to do. But that's also part of the problem, because when you get somebody who wants to start beating their chest and then all of a sudden they're calling out issues that aren't issues, that doesn't help the client.
Mold-like substance. That's one of my favorites.
Oh my God.
What did I just read? And this was on the same forum. I'm like, he was trying to say mold, but he said something else, and unusual growth. I'm like, what the? That's what it was, unusual growth. And I'm like, what the hell? It's almost like you're trying to mislead somebody on that one.
Yeah. Well, one time I had an unusual growth. I got that taken care of at the dermatologist.
Yep.
So
That's what I was waiting for right there.
All right, folks, we're going to go quiet just for a few minutes right here, just while Charlie ponders all the growth things on Patrick's body.
He's got the malarkey flag right there, and he refuses to throw it, but that's all right.
I don't know. No, it's just... And Joey, tell me you feel the same way when it comes to, other mortgage people. I know that we've had some mutual clients together, and I've learned so much from you doing these shows every week. And I'm able now to recognize when a mortgage broker who's either trained wrong or just ignorant or deceiving or a little bit of...
Or just does not care enough.
That's what I was about to say. And then all of a sudden, it's the person that gets harmed. It's our client that gets harmed. And it's like, that's not true, as far as that mortgage is concerned. And I think I got him onto you, and you corrected everything, and it all went through, if I remember right. But it's the knowledge thing is what it is. Well, aren't we all? Fixers?
Well, if you're not a fixer in this business, then then you are one of those that will be here 2 years and leave.
Yeah, and we can't say that over and over enough. And that is the same in the mortgage broker world, right?
Oh, absolutely.
But I don't think it's the same in Patrick's world.
No, but what I would say is that there are, however many different ways to make money as a lawyer, and I feel like in many instances you find that lawyers they see the real estate market as hot. They think real estate, that I've heard that's not that difficult, and so they decide to take on real estate clients, and all of a sudden they get themselves neck deep in an issue, and look. Occasionally, you'll have a transaction that goes quite smoothly, and you'll think to yourself, "This is not the most difficult thing in the world." But at the same time, I'd say more often than not, you're going to run into something that is going to require some real thought and consideration and some touch. Whether it's trying to put your best foot forward to convince someone on the other side of the righteousness of your opinion, or on the other side, and this is probably more likely, especially in the current market, to explain to your client, well, we need to look at things holistically and not just try to win every single thing that we think that the seller needs to do or that the buyer needs to do. If at the end of the day, whatever the outcome will be is the better outcome, even though you didn't quote unquote win, let's focus on the outcome. Let's get that good outcome.
That's the one thing that I haven't figured out how to communicate to my clients well yet, and I want to work on it. So many times they ask me, well, should I ask for that in negotiations? And should I get the seller to fix this? Oh, man. Why are you saying, oh, man, Joey?
Well, I mean, hey, I'm here to inspect your house. That's attorneys, that's realtors, yeah.
But, and my argument and what I try to express to them is it's not a principle thing. Negotiations has nothing to do with right or wrong or principle or black and white. It all has to do with leverage. and how much power you have over the other party. And I mean, and I think once I tell them that, if there's like 2, 3, 5 other people looking to buy the same property, which a lot of people are under that stress right now.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have any leverage. All right. I mean, you can ask for whatever you want, but now you're rolling the dice, because I learned from Patrick that they could just say no and cancel the deal, right?
Well, they can say no, and they may very well say no. And I mean, look, I think what Joey just said is the right answer, which is, this isn't really for me to say. And, what you're saying, and it's something I have conversations with clients often, is that, you really need to take the, who's right, what's right and what's wrong, or, assigning any kind of righteousness to anything that's happening in the situation, because nobody's really in a position to say what's right and wrong in any given situation. What's right and wrong to you is going to be a different set of right and wrong to the person on the other side of it. And so, whether or not you think something is quote unquote right, or assigning some kind of, this person is doing something to me, that's not really. That's not what's going on in a real estate transaction. Whoever's on the other side of it has a set of goals and objectives, and they're trying to achieve that set of goals and objectives, and they're not really thinking about how it's going to make you feel. I guess I'm dancing around it.
No, you're hitting it right on the button.
Yeah, the
people
feelings,
need to focus on their objectives and their goals.
So
that's it.
The way someone is making you feel. First of all, no one can make you feel any kind of way.
You make me feel lovey-dovey. What are you talking about?
Your feelings are your feelings. I don't have any influence. I mean, I can try to influence your feelings, but you're going to feel whatever you feel. And so, once you go ahead, feel the feelings, where we all have our feelings, we all feel them. And then, you notice them for what they are.
They make bumper stickers for that.
And you know what? You can either hear me and understand how right I am.
You are right. I know that.
Is that how you feel?
It is exactly how I feel.
Stuck in your feelings right now.
I am stuck on my feelings. Patrick Loftus is the greatest. Patrick, since you make me feel so good about myself, how do people get hold of you if they have questions?
Well, if you want to talk about your feelings, go somewhere else. But if you want to talk to me about real estate, find me on social media at Loftus_law and at Loftus Law. And by the way, just to kind of put a little nice bow on it, it's like that's a huge reason why you have people representing you in real estate transactions, because those feelings are so strong.
Yeah.
And then you have your real estate broker, your lawyer, your mortgage broker, and even your inspector, who are not so deep in those feelings, hopefully. Hopefully. Trust me, it happens. I see real estate brokers get deep in the feelings. I see other lawyers get deep in their feelings.
Yeah.
And, we've got to fight that notion, and we've got to be the ones with the level heads to give the advice, the objective advice, so that somebody has, someone in their corner that's not in a triggered state of mind. Because as a home buyer or seller, you are probably not in your regular adult mind. You are either scared that something bad is going to happen, or you're angry that something is happening that you don't like.
Joey, first of all, Joe, give us your contact information, and then I got another question for you.
Well, yeah, I can make that happen. Joey Mathews, the VA Loan Nerd. You can find me on the social medias as at the VA Loan Nerd. You can call or text me at 630-235-2405. Email me at info@thevaloannerd.com, or find me at my website, thevaloannerd.com.
Oh, loving it. And it's funny because our website is The Home Inspectors, and Patrick is over here giggling at me right now
The
because
Home Inspectors.
Exactly. I know that DA comes out way too much.
How come I'm not the Loftus.law?
I don't know. You should be.
Yeah,
we match it all up right there.
I'm going to go register that.
Yeah, I'll register it right now and take it away from you. DALoftuslaw.com.
Loftuslaw.com.
I'll take that away right now.
Goodness.
But it's thehomeinspectors.com. The name of the company is Chicagoland Home Inspectors. We pride ourselves on making a big, long list. That's all there is to it. It's funny. That is something that's really interesting when I do the Zoom calls with our clients. When you make that big long list, sometimes it scares the bejesus out of them, right?
Always.
But when I tell them that we average 70 issues on every home inspection that we do, then all of a sudden, they see it's only at 60, and they're like, oh, really? I says, yeah, I need you to know that if we did another inspection, it's going to look a lot like this one. All right. No home is ever perfect. Some of these things are pretty small, but let's always come down to how much is it going to cost. All right. And then talk to your attorney, talk to your real estate agent. And I would actually lean more towards the real estate agent than the attorney. And you could tell me why I'm wrong if you want. But the real estate agent, I think, knows how hot the market is. They know how much leverage you have. And then they could help you with those particular negotiations.
Yeah, I'd say a lot of lawyers would argue with you about that. They'd say, well, I'm the negotiating expert because I'm a lawyer and I went to 7 years of post-high school education and I passed the bar exam and I have all this experience. But the fact is, we as lawyers in the transaction most likely are lacking key information. And so, in my opinion, that those conversations need to be had with not only the lawyer who's gonna tell you, what legally we can do, but I need to know, for example, once I'm done with my conversation with the client, I'm definitely going to call the real estate broker and say, hey, what was discussed before you went under contract? If there's a closing cost credit. I just had a conversation with a real estate broker about this on Monday, which was we were trying to figure out whether a seller who's really pointing toward the fact that they offered a closing cost credit pre-acceptance and then saying no to a bunch of the inspection stuff. I wanted to know, was that one where you agreed on a price and then bumped it up to get yourself the credit just because you needed it for cash to close, or was this a $4,000 concession after you agreed on the price? Those are two different credits, right? The first one is you're just crediting someone back their money in the hopes that they'll be able to work that into the loan. The second one is an actual concession that I'm more willing to take seriously when the seller tells me I'm not doing this because we had this concession. But it's really conversations, more than one, several conversations between the client and the lawyer and the real estate broker to figure out, hey, were there 5 other offers? Is there a backup offer just absolutely waiting for us to fall flat on our faces? On the other hand, even if that's the case, is there something really wrong? Did we find wet roof sheathing when you went up into the attic, right? Even if it's as is, even if we have all of these concessions, that's probably something we should at least bring to the buyer's or to the seller's attention. So all of that. I mean, so to answer your question, perhaps in a more succinct way, it's a very complex set of factors that goes into determining how hot or how week we want to go in with what we're asking for.
Yeah, I know a lot of agents will tell us that most of the entire Chicagoland market is pretty hot and they're getting multiple offers on a lot of properties. Except I think it's South Loop and maybe
South
River
Loop,
North.
River North, Gold Coast are still pretty
so
soft.
The condos are basically that's what's in those areas a lot, right?
I would say it's more about the location. One of the.
I thought those were some of the most desirable areas.
That's true, except that the Loop still has not recovered in terms of the amount of office space occupied, and one of the top reasons for the attractiveness of those areas is that if you work in the Loop, being that close, being able to walk to work or take a short train ride or bus ride to work is a big part of what makes those attractive. And if I no longer have any need to come into the Loop, or if it's 2 days a week, I'm probably thinking I'm going to get more bang for my buck, and more space, and maybe I'm closer to the restaurants I like if I'm up in Logan or West Loop. Those are the the hottest areas in terms of the nightlife, if you will. Someone who's younger than me can tell me what I'm wrong about with that. But in terms of the best restaurants, I think you're going to find those West Loop and Logan. So,
and then I was just thinking while Patrick was talking, I was thinking about, Joey, what happens with, after the inspection but before closing? How does the loan stuff get kiboshed? I mean, what is the conversation like about going out and buying a new car? Or, Patrick's giggling over that. I know it's not a wise move, while you're going through the loan process. But, I mean, how much is that expressed to the clients?
I think realtors are really good about having that conversation. Mortgage people, I would hope, are good about having that conversation. I like to make sure that people know, hey, don't quit your job before closing. Like literally the day of closing, still don't quit your job, because we're going to check to see if you're still working. Literally the day that you are closing, we'll make sure that you are still working. I had a guy quit a job the morning of closing back in 2017, and it still chaps me because the funder, they were signing docs, and the funder calls me and he was like, hey, we just got the verbal back from the place where the person worked, and they said that he terminated employment this morning. I was like, you have got to be effing kidding me right now. So I called the borrower at the table and I was like, hey, dude, any chance you quit your job this morning? He was like, oh yeah, dude, I'm just going to live off the rents for this place. I was like, that's not how this works, man.
No.
You just lost your house at the closing table. But that happened once. But
who was the bad guy on that, Joey? Did you become the bad guy on that?
No, the borrower becomes a bad guy on that. They quit their job the morning of closing without telling anybody. We're still going to find out,
Yeah.
The customer's not always right.
Mind.
No, the customer's
buyers,
not always right, but sometimes they point the fingers anyway.
Oh, they do. You can't control that. No. I mean, but yeah, that's a harrowing story, right? So I need, to the tens of you listening, to the dozens of you listening, you can't
7.4 million listening.
You can't say it enough times. I mean, if I was a mortgage broker, I would have it set up like every morning. All of my clients who are currently in the loan process would get a text message. Hey, your daily reminder not to open any new lines of credit and don't quit your job. And it's usually not the quitting of the job. It's the, I got a new job and it pays more, so it's not a big deal. It doesn't matter.
I can work with that.
Well, you can work with that if you know about it more than 2 days before closing or the day of. Yeah. People make certain assumptions about, it's just about the dollars and cents of it. And yes, that's primarily what goes into whether or not you can get qualify for a loan. But you're building a file, and if any of the pieces that are supposed to go into the puzzle to get to the complete picture are not there, no loan, right?
All in all, this should be a list that we put together. What are the things that can go ahead and screw this up now? And just
we don't have
bullet
enough,
point it.
We don't have enough paper. I mean, look, that's if it could be boiled down to a list, that we wouldn't need 6 professionals to do a real estate transaction, right? You wouldn't need a real estate broker. You could just have the real estate broker be the loan broker, be the inspector, be the all of it. And I'm sure there was a time when that was more of a thing where
There's
had
people that do have all those licenses.
Yeah, I don't recommend it. Do one thing and do it really, really well.
Right, but I still believe in learning other people's jobs. All right.
Yeah.
Like I didn't
understand
learn
the process.
Exactly.
But
that's where I'm going.
I'm still I feel like I'm going to go buy some thermal paste and just start painting it on stuff just because I believe so much in thermal paste now.
I love it.
For those of you who have been listening,
not
the whole
thermal.
whatever,
But anyway,
who cares?
You care.
I do. I deeply. All of a sudden. And for those of you who have been listening long enough to know that callback is from earlier in the show, you're the real ones, man.
All 4 of you.
Gosh.
That's where it is on there. But everything really boils down to 2, maybe 3 things. When we find something wrong, well, first of all, let's back up 1 second. Buying a house is an emotional process. And when somebody's, being emotional, it's very easy to, put gasoline on that fire. and inflame those emotions. And that doesn't help the client, because once you're emotional, you're making irrational decisions. And if we can keep everybody on the logic and stick to the facts and the ratios, so how severe is it, I think that's important. So, and I know a lot of home inspectors think I'm crazy for this. They say, well, you shouldn't give prices because what if you're wrong? Well, you're going to be wrong. You know, if you're giving prices for labor and materials, well, that varies by 400% between the cheapest and the most expensive guy, right? But if we use outside cost estimating systems out there, then we could share that information and at least get them somewhere in the ballpark. Are there going to be people that hire? Yeah. Lower? Yeah. You know, but to me, if you could find out how much it costs, and then does it really need to be fixed? You know, so how urgent is it? Then you got that stuff. Now you can make the decisions using your attorney and using your real estate agent. And I don't know, maybe even if it's something that the mortgage company protects you with, use them as well. But then you decide who pays, you know, whether it's me accepting it or me not accepting it.
Well, most things are, you know, they can be put on a schedule of maintenance, right? It's not necessarily that, yeah, if you need to repair a light fixture, sure, you're going to want to repair that light fixture because it's probably an important light fixture. But, you know, other things can be put on a maintenance schedule. You know, if you have an older furnace, you know, you can estimate how long that furnace is likely to last and start saving for it. And in fact, that's probably a wise decision to do no matter what condition the home is in. You know, we can understand through, you know, I'm sure there's tables out there as far as, you know, how long are things meant to last.
There are plenty of those out there. And you're hitting it on the head. Plan your work and work your plan. I mean, it's a marketing phrase. I get it. But you do need to have a plan.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, you're right. And, you know, I'm going to repeat myself from earlier, but I might as well, because we'll have people who are listening now who weren't listening before. And, you know, for any of you out there who are of the opinion that, hey, you know, buying or selling a house isn't that hard. It's just a transaction. I can do it on my own. I can, you know, perhaps if you have the right temperament, and you have the right understanding of, and you're willing to put the work in to market your place or to go out there and look, and you can find it, and you can do it without the help of professionals, and you can do it in a way that is not going to require thousands of dollars of therapy after you're done. Good on you. But that is a small minority of people, and most people, the reason we use real estate brokers is really similar to the reason that athletes use agents, that actors use agents. When you talk about something, you know, let's say I'm a professional athlete and I'm going in to negotiate my own contract, and I've got a list of players who I think I'm similar to, and then they present me with the list of players that they think I'm similar to. I'm going to feel some kind of way. It's going to be like, those guys are bums. I am, you know, I am, you know, what the heck is his name? Anyways, Connor McDavid, you know, and they're like, no, you're more like, you know, the third line right wing. And, you know, so you need that buffer. You need that buffer to have those difficult conversations so that you don't lose your mind, you know, and as an actor. And you may not think out there that buying and selling a home is similar to that, but if you're selling your home, you love that place. You love that. I love my home. I love where I live. I love everything about it. And when someone comes in and offers me what they think it's worth, I'm going to stomp around and throw a temper tantrum because I'm not going to like it. I'm going to go, no way. This is my home. You don't understand what kind of home you're getting. You're getting the one that I lived in, and it's awesome. And it's worth more than my neighbor who has the exact same home. And so, you know, to have someone in to create that buffer is so important. And, well, I mean, is it worth what they charge? Well, you know, yeah, it is. I'm sorry. You know, let's argue about it.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here listening to everything, and
I want to hear you argue now.
Say that again, Joey.
Sit now. I want to hear him argue.
Yeah, you and me both.
I'm gonna argue. I'm gonna argue with myself. Then people are really gonna think I'm nuts.
No, but it comes back to, you know, if you're gonna do this stuff on your own, then you're not even listening to us. We're complaining about real estate professionals that don't care or don't know and don't want to know. And they're just, everything comes with experience. All right. The value, Patrick, of you is how long you've been doing this, how many personal experiences, how many problems you solved, everything else. It becomes routine now. All right. And so when you're doing this yourself without that backup plan that's there to coach you through all this stuff, you're in the same position as hiring uneducated real estate professionals.
You're just hoping it works out.
And that's it.
Not a strategy.
Or you don't care. It's a horrible strategy that comes with it. But on the same note, just picking anybody is another horrible strategy.
Yeah, just Google VA loans. I'm sure you'll get something good, right, Joey?
Oh, I'm going to Google that right now.
Don't start with me. Don't start with me.
My
SEO's not there yet. Eventually, it will be something great.
I'll tell you what, and that's Joe, you're doing the Lord's work there, because as we have discussed previously, what comes up when you Google VA loan is really it's a trap for the unwitting, and it goes back to something we talked about last week, which is the people out there who are either trying to take advantage of veterans, or they don't understand the VA loan nerd, so they either steer them away from it, or the process becomes completely bogged down because they don't even know that they need to pull a certificate of eligibility, right off the bat, as an initial step.
That one gets me going.
All of that contributes to the conventional wisdom that VA loans have too much red tape, they're too difficult. You don't want to deal with it, blah, blah, blah.
Because they don't know.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. The point is that Joey's doing the Lord's work by actually getting information out there, a website that someone could actually Google and look and get good quality information about what this thing is, instead of this other crap that all they've really successfully done is SEO'd themselves to the top of the Google search results.
Oh yeah, they did.
And it's just about providing value, not to their clients, but to their shareholders.
But that is part of running a business. All right.
Well,
I mean, getting business off the internet is a 3-step process. The first step is you got to be found. If you're not found, you can't help anybody. All right. So you need to get it up there at the top. And then realize that you're going to be in competition with other people that are trying to get to the top as well. So now you have to have a reason to, bring it down to the final 3 or 4 people that you're going to actually look into deeply. And I remember that on Indeed. You get 1,000, resumes. Well, we'll sift through that and give you the top 10, that comes in there. And that's really what people are doing when they're Googling online. And then you have to become the best. You have to be the most knowledgeable and educated. You've got to be able to convey that to your client before they hire you. And you got about 1 minute and 10 seconds to do it.
Yeah. So when you Google VA loan currently, you get companies that are really excelling at 1 and 2, and then falling flat on their face at the 3rd one. And I'm excited for the prospect that instead of having having companies with the best SEO who can't follow through on it, that there's going to be someone out there actually with all 3 steps, and there's going to be a lot of happy veterans out there who are really getting the benefit of the one of the really, really amazing benefits that we try to give to our veterans.
Did you just use really, really amazing? You need to get your hands moving out to the side like that. What are you talking? There's so many adjectives coming out of your mouth there.
Totally.
Totally. It's the best ever. It's like, holy cow, I'm going to run you for president.
Listen, Joey has converted me to the church of the VA loan, and I am an evangelist, and I am out there. I'm spreading the word as much as I can, because I'm atoning for past sins, because I used to be one of those people who's like,
we're changing the narrative, baby. We're changing the narrative together.
Well, you should.
We are changing hearts and minds. But we're not going to get it. What we're not going to do is before we achieve our objective, we're not going to get on an aircraft carrier and claim victory. We're not going to do that until we are actually there.
You're darn right.
George
You're
W.
darn right.
I was gonna say, yeah. I thought I was trying to
We
figure out
did
where
it.
it was. Yeah.
We do. Oh, wait,
Oops.
what?
Well, it doesn't matter anymore. You just say anything you want to happen, and it becomes a reality.
Hey, you're on 820
know?
where facts matter.
It does matter
Calm down.
here. No, I'm not. You're right. I'm getting all worked up over nothing. Joey, what percentage of your borrowers I know are pretty much mostly all VA, but what do you think is the percentage between conventional mortgages versus VA mortgages?
In general,
Yeah.
I would say that you're probably looking at 80, 15, and 5. So 80 conventional, 15 FHA, 5 VA. That would be
That's
my
a very
guesstimate.
small percentage.
It's a tiny percentage, and that's why no one focuses on it. It sucks. It sucks because then it makes the people who do focus on it have to work harder. But that's okay because it's worth it.
Yeah, getting the word out. Well, they're emotional because you were involved in the military and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I get it. But there's still other people, that these same mistakes happen for a conventional mortgage that you are familiar with because of the VA process. But there's
Yep.
still a lot of balls that get dropped on these things. So it just gets nutty.
If I saw an opportunity to get 5% of the market here in Chicago and no one else was really out there competing for it in a meaningful way, I would absolutely seize that opportunity with both hands. And so, I think that is, the dirty little secret is all this good that Joey's doing is probably going to make him a lot of money as well.
There's nothing wrong with that.
You know what I'm really doing? I'm helping a lot of families.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. I'm helping a lot of families.
Everybody wakes up every morning and they go to work for one reason only, and that's to make money. All right? And that's okay. That's how our economy works. Now, if you can do it and enjoy doing it and have pride in everything that you do, that's just a bonus. All right? But there's nothing wrong with making money. That is not a sin.
We're not supposed to talk like capitalists here on 820 where facts matter.
Yes, we are. Capitalism is outstanding. But we are running close to getting out of time here. Patrick, can you give us your contact info again?
Yes, find Comrade Patrick Loftus
Comrade.
on Instagram, Loftus_law. Find me on TikTok at Loftus Law.
You got so many heads shaking over here. It's like, what's wrong with you? Joey, please.
Being an adult is hard. My name is Joey Mathews.
It
You can
is.
call or text me at 630-235-2405. You can find me at thevaloannerd.com, which is an awesome website. You should check it out. Or on the social medias, all of them, as at the VA Loan Nerd.
Sounds good. And again, my name is Charlie Bellefontaine. I own Chicagoland Home Inspectors. And our phone number is 312-544-9180. And if you've listened to us this whole time, I don't care if you're a paying client or not. One thing I explain to all of our clients when I do these Zoom calls, when everything's done, if there's any questions about any work or bid proposals or anything like that, or something's happening in your house and you want to discuss it, I never charge to talk to anybody on the phone. I never charge for a Zoom call. We will charge if we have to send somebody out there, but I want to help as many people that are listening to the show as possible, all right? And I'm not looking for anything in return. If you need contractors that I know and I have a personal relationship with, I will be more than honored to share their names with you. Again, my phone number is 312-544-9180. Press option 3, and that'll make my phone ring. And other than that, I just want to say thank you for listening. And
24/7. Call him 24/7.
Bye.